but my only issue is, and it's a big fear of mine, hello, and welcome to Whisky Wins with me, Stuart. Hopefully the audio in this is a lot better. I've had a microphone for so long, one of those RODE, the Rode microphones, and tried plugging it in so many times and recording, and it seemed it was always recording from my camera's or my phone's audio or microphone. And it turned out the cable I had wasn't compatible and I needed a different cable. So hopefully this microphone's a lot better and hopefully the audio's better. Anyway, today we're looking at Glengoyne Legacy, an almost experimental series in a sense from Glengoyne. This is chapter 1, released in 2019. Chapter 2 should be out this year with the rebranded Glengoyne, which I will address and talk about after the review. It's 48% ABV, unchill filtered, and probably not any added colouring, but it doesn't actually say. I mean, I think it's first fill sherry, so it doesn't really look like there's colour in there. I've also branded got my Whisky Wins t-shirt on, and if you want to buy one for any reason, something to spill stuff on, then there's a link in my description. Anyway, don't worry yourself too much with that. We'll get down to the whisky, that's what we're here for. So the nose, it's a little rubbery. The 48% ABV, it's £65 as well, I forgot to mention. In fact, sorry, £55 to £60 RRP. The nose a little rubbery, it's sulphuric. There's rum raisins, there's like an orange coffee, not coffee, orange cake sponge. I've been noticing this quite recently in my sherried whiskies as the orange flavours coming through a lot more. I don't know if it's something that I'm just picking up on or just kind of focusing on a little bit too much and it's coming through. There's dry wood for sure. There's a lot of young characteristics. It's quite acidic. Like I said, kind of rubbery, ripe, but nothing horrible. It's almost good young. Well, it is good young. I don't think it's old spirit in here. I don't think it's above 12-year-old, but it's got a nice, I mean, there might be 12-year-old in there, but I think the majority is quite a young spirit. It's got a nice grasp, a nice element to grip you by. Coffee, and also there's something burnt, but I don't know what it is, but just burnt something. Yeah, like I said, quite nice. The palate. An oily mouthfeel for sure. It's strong, it's warming, there's hints of apricot, bitter sherry. I want to say coffee cake with like a toffee or caramel icing on top. Initially this is quite a bitter whiskey, but as it develops it is becoming a lot sweeter. I don't think this is a typical Glengoyne in the sense that it's full of fruit, full of fresh fruit. It's quite sulphuric still in the palate, which I don't really experience with a lot of Glengoynes. This is maybe why I quite enjoy this one in particular. It's quite dirty in a sense, a little bit of funk. So I think typical Glengoyne fans who are there for the Glengoyne characteristics might not enjoy this as much, but it definitely pulls me in and I'm pretty much enjoying it so far. I'm using my hands so much. There's dark fruits, red currant jam that makes the whole experience quite sticky or quite meaty, quite thick. That could also be the sherry element, quite a dense thickness from it. It's lovely in the mouth, warming like I said. A little bit drying towards the end, but I'm enjoying it. The finish is medium, it's not a long finish. There's oak tannins, some licorice. I feel like there's marzipan there, a little bit of bitter fruit, kind of after you've ate some fruit and you've got a more bitter taste rather than sweet. There's also, and I have had a smoothie earlier on this morning, so this might be clouding my judgment, but towards the end of the finish, there's a kind of sensation on your tongue as if you've ate a lot of pineapple or a lot of kiwi. There's no pineapple or kiwi flavours in there, but it's like that sensation, a little bit acidic, a little bit nippy on the tongue. I think, yeah, I'm trying to if there's a word for it. I don't think there is a word for it, but it's basically like that on the tongue. Once again, sulphur as well. I feel like the sulphur's quite prominent through this whiskey. Sulphuric sherry berry element, if that makes sense. Is it worth it? £55? Yeah, I think so. It's got 2 out of the 4 that I'm wanting. 2 out of the 4 pass marks. If we got 48% ABV above 46, brilliant. Unchilled filtered, brilliant. Doesn't say about added colour and it's not got an age. So 2 out of 4 is good for me, and I think £55 right on the mark, and I think they've hit the mark with the price. Would I buy it again? Probably not. I think now that I've had it, I'm happy. I mean, there might come a time where I do want it again, but if I can get it at the retail value, £55, £60, then I probably would buy it, because it is quite a me whiskey. Would I recommend it? For sure. If you're into those sulphuric notes, if you're into kind of bitterness, sherry, if you're a typical Glengoyne fan and you're looking for all those Glengoyne characteristics, you might be a bit let down with it, but still, definitely a Whisky Win for me. On to the rebranding. So they've rebranded all their bottles, all their whiskies, which is great. All the kind of distilleries are now doing it this time of year. It's getting up to Christmas, getting the new products out, getting them looking all fancy. And I'll put a picture up somewhere, either in front of me or whatever, of the rebranding. It looks slick, it looks nice. They focus more on the goose or the geese. I'm not sure if you can see them on the front there and on the back here, kind of embossed there. I think Glengoyne's Valley of the Geese, that's what it means, something like that. So they've focused on the goose or the geese more, which is quite cool. But my only issue is, and it's a big fear of mine, they recently released I think it was a single cask. They done a stream on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, and the audience got to vote for the cask that would be bottled, and it turned out to be a port 15-year-old single cask. My issue was it was £190 asking price for a 15-year-old single cask. It's a lot, considering their last year's I think was £199 or £190, and it was a 19-year-old and it came in a nice box. The 15-year-old just comes in the bottle. Doesn't matter what it comes in, but it's still a lot of money. So I'm hoping that's not a kind of almost prediction of what's to come. I hope that's not foreshadowing of what's to come with Glengoyne, because if the Legacy Chapter 2, because of the rebranding, if they're thinking of bumping that up £20 to like £80 or to anything above that, I don't think I'll be buying it. Other people might, but it won't be for me. 55, 60, 65 at a stretch is probably the most I'd pay for it. It's young, it's vibrant, it's an experiment, so it's like you shouldn't be paying any more than £50 for it. I just try to look in this little booklet to see if there was any notes about the Legacy. It just says about Oloroso, sherry casks, intense notes of pear, cinnamon, sultanas. So, nah, nothing there. That's just a load of spiel. Anyway, that's pretty much been my review. I hope it wasn't a rant about Glengoyne or anything. I do enjoy this whiskey. Glengoyne Teapot Jam, they do have some offerings, but I just hope they're not putting the price up or using the rebranding to put the price up at all. Thanks for watching. I've been Stuart. This has been Whisky Wims. I'll see you later.